Hello, my name is Voya and welcome to My Deep Guide. Well, today the Lenovo Smart Paper, actually yesterday, it received a first official meaningful update since its official release, and now it's October 2023. Their nomenclature and designations for updates is really weird, so if this device is receiving more updates, when I'm going to be covering them by date, if that makes any sense, because the numbers really don't make much sense. So this update actually introduces a couple of new things and some new improvements. So let's check it out and see what do we have on the Lenovo Smart Paper now. Alright, so now we are checking out the Smart Paper with the latest update from the October 2023, and we're going to start with new functionalities. And the first new functionality would be that we have new gestures for navigating in PDF documents. So before you had to swipe to go to previous and next page, but now we can actually tap, which works as you would expect it to. The importing of documents into the library has been somewhat simplified. So this is still a really problematic area of the Lenovo Smart Paper, but now you can actually import documents into the library without the use of the subscriptions or the synchronization or anything like that. So now we do have this icon here, and that icon is the import icon. So your regular workflow would be you would transfer the files onto the device via whatever method you want, cable or Bluetooth or something else. But when you transfer the files onto the device, they are not in your library. You need to transfer them into the library. So in order to do that, you need to use the import icon here. And once you do, then you are presented with the file tree directory structure of the device. And here is where things again get a little bit confusing, because this is supposed to be a super simple function that you just simply, you want to get the document that you've transferred onto your device, you want to get it into your library so that you can use it, but you're forced to go through this whole thing. So unless you really know where all of the documents will be stored, depending on which method you use, you might actually be forced to hunt around and search for those documents. So for example, I've transferred some of the files via the Bluetooth, and after examining all of the folders, I found that they actually appear in the download folder here. So this is the document that I transferred via the Bluetooth. I can actually long press and select multiple files, but in this case I only have one. So I'm just going to press it, and it has been imported successfully. And let's see, there we go. And this is the document that I've imported into my library. This kind of works, but I think that definitely there's a lot of room for improvement, because as I said, the whole thing about navigating the file structure of the device may be a little bit confusing, and also I think that it would be really beneficial if the device would have an option of choosing which directories on the device itself will be able to kind of be scanned and auto import anything that's changed into the library. So basically linking a folder from the device with the library, and maybe choosing an option whether you want to use that and whether you want it to be, auto synchronized with the library. That would significantly simplify things and make it a little bit, not a little, a lot more streamlined. It is now possible, finally, to do pinch to zoom in documents. However, it works a little bit weird. I mean, the pinch to zoom is fine on its own, but normally what we would like it to be is that you are able to pinch and pan at the same time, but you can't. So what you can do is you can pinch to zoom, and once you're in a zoom state, you will have this restore button, which tells you, hey, you're in a zoom state. And while you're in a zoom state, you can use the one finger gesture to pan the page and position it the way that you might want. Now, the good thing about this is that this is a persistent state. So let's say that once I finally manage to get my zoomed state the way I want it to be, like so, as you can see, it's now kind of getting weird and it's selecting words while I'm panning, etc. So it's really not that great. But the good thing about it, at least, is that it's a persistent zoom state. So once I have it set, I can actually continue reading the document in that state. So that's something that's really good. Something that's not so good is that, for example, if I switched it over into the landscape mode, right? And then I wanted to have a zoomed in state here to get the maximum real estate. And you can see what my fingers are trying to do. I'm trying to zoom and pan at the same time, but you can't do that. The only thing you can is zoom, release, pan, release, and okay. So let's say that this is the format that I would like. First of all, there's no way of getting rid of the restore button or hiding it or moving it or anything like that, so that's going to be always in the way. And the second thing is, now the tab gestures do work, but they flip the whole page in that zoomed state. So you can read the page by simply kind of using the pan functionality, but again, it would be a lot better if the functionality was in such a way that if the whole page is not displayed on the screen, your tap would simply pan the page down until it reaches the page end, and the next page gesture would flip the page, etc., etc. But right now you have this kind of clumsy way of functioning, and that's not really the optimal way that I like to see. Another thing about the zoomed in state is, let's say that I wanted to kind of make a note here. So I'm gonna make this is my note, and maybe I just want to kind of underline these, right? And then when I click restore, yeah, handwritten annotations, while you do them in a zoomed in state, they are not properly zoomed out or transformed, so they are not linked to the zoomed state. So this is such an obvious issue that I really don't understand. How did this actually go through a beta test or any testing stage whatsoever and actually kind of go out and say, yep, that's actually good, this is what we like. Another really important improvement that's been added to the Smart Paper is that finally it has the hyperlink functionality, which means that you can use hyperlinks in PDFs and EPUB files. Now, normally this is used for navigating around the table of contents in bigger documents, but this also means that you can use the advanced documents such as the MDO or the MMP, which rely on the hyperlink functionality. So while it previously wasn't possible to use either MDO or MMP on Lenovo Smart Paper, after this October update it is possible to use it. So you can, normally navigate throughout the whole thing, and the performance is actually quite good, and I think that it works really, really well. However, there is an obvious issue, and it relates to the previous chapter, which was adding notes in a zoomed in state. So MDO is designed in such a way that you should be able to zoom in, get to the place where you want, make your entry, and then zoom out and continue working. But because of that bug, and that the entries don't really zoom in or zoom out, that doesn't really work. So that is something that you have to kind of keep in mind if you want to use it. You definitely can, but you should not add any entries in a zoomed state until they fix this. I mean, they have to fix this at some point, and I hope that they will, because this is a obvious and a huge problem, but it is what it is. So if you want to use MDO and MP on the Smart Paper now, you can, just don't write in a zoomed state until they fix it. And the other thing regarding the hyperlinks is that as soon as you go travel via the hyperlink somewhere, you will get this whole button called back to previous lock ... and an X. So this is your shortcut. If you tap it, you will get back to the previous location that you've traveled from, right? So if I travel to here, and maybe I go to week here, and then I can just go back to previous location. It remembers only one, so there's not a whole breadcrumb trail. There's only previous location, nothing more than that. And also there's no way of locating it anywhere else. So you can't move it, you can't do anything with it. The only thing you can do with it is you can close it. So that's how that works. It is now possible to do file transfer via Bluetooth from either your phone or PC, between phone or PC and the Smart Paper device. So you can send the files via Bluetooth from your phone or PC onto the Smart Paper, and you can send or share files via Bluetooth from your Smart Paper to the phone or to your PC. And that's actually just works like any other Bluetooth pairing type of file transfer, depending on which platform you use. But for me, it actually worked perfectly fine, both with the PC and both with the phone. I didn't have any problems whatsoever. And once you actually transfer them, you will have this whole region here, Bluetooth received files. Don't get confused by this icon, because this icon is actually not what I initially thought. It looks similar like the icon for importing into the library, and for me that's something that would have made perfect sense, because these files are now transferred into the device. So the next logical thing that you would want to do with documents, for example, is to get them directly into the library, and it would make perfect sense that this icon here would actually do that, but it doesn't. What it does instead is yeah, I actually transferred that and moved it, so it no longer exists. What it does when the file is there is that it opens up like a selection of which program do you want to use to open that file with, which doesn't make any sense as far as I'm concerned. It just doesn't really work. This is the icon that should be next to those files, so that you can simply transfer them immediately from that one place and add them into the library. As it is now, the workflow is, as I showed, you have to go into import, and all of the stuff that you've transferred to the device is going to be located in the download folder. And once you import it, as you can see, now it's gone. It's been moved physically into the internal storage folder that the library is using. So that's why the previous one didn't find it. A couple of things to kind of remember with the Bluetooth transfer is that it's, first of all, it's very, very slow. So if you're transferring like, I don't know, 25 megabyte worth of a document, it's going to take maybe about 2-3 minutes, or maybe even longer. And then you encounter the other problem, which is that if you have a longer state and you're transferring more files via Bluetooth, the device won't understand that it is in a busy state. So while transferring or receiving files, it will go to sleep, which eventually, if you don't interrupt it quickly enough, it will interrupt the transfer itself. So yeah, the sleep state is kind of weird because it doesn't understand that the device is actually doing stuff. So you have to keep that in mind. This update also brings the functionality of the ability of hooking up a Bluetooth keyboard to your Smart Paper device. And yeah, Bluetooth hooking up worked perfectly fine. There was no issues whatsoever. So, and it remembers the paired keyboard normally. So those things work fine. You also have the ability to change the or add multiple keyboard layouts. And you do that by going to Settings, General, and then into the keyboards, and then you have the option of on-screen and physical keyboard. So everything you want to do with the physical keyboard is obviously in the physical keyboard menu. And here is my physical keyboard here that I have it hooked up, and you go to it, and then these are the layouts that I have added, and you can set up keyboard layouts and you can add multiple more languages. And I'm just going to go through the pages here so that you can see which of the languages are available. And if you are interested, then you can just pause and see if the language that you're looking for is there. So the ones that you want, you just switch them on. And once you switch them on, they will be listed here. Now, there are shortcuts that are available on Smart Paper and Android normally. So the usual shortcut is Control Space to switch between the layouts. And this works fine, and it just tells you like, hey, it's like English, Norwegian. So that part actually works really, really well. In line with that, we also have this list here of optional or keyboard shortcuts. And this magnifying glass icon is the shortcut for the control. Now, the problem with this is that I can't really get to majority of them doesn't really work. So for example, if I wanted to get to the browser, it should be Control B, nothing happens. Control E or Control E for email, Control L for calendar, none of it actually works. However, what we've seen is that switching the keyboard layout is working, so that one is received. However, keyboard shortcuts should be this. Nope, we'll see if that's going to be shown in Adapter. Then I can go to notifications. Nope, that doesn't work. Alt Tab works up to a point, so it will get me to the option of switching between apps. And here, if I hit Tab one more time and then use arrows, then I should be able to navigate between these different opened apps. But normally what would need to happen is that I hit enter and I get there, and some of the things will work, some of the stuff won't work. So it's very, very inconsistent as far as that goes. And now I'm trying to use the Control and minus, but it doesn't really work. It's supposed to open the keyboard shortcuts here. So the recent works kind of, but it's a little bit weird. Back, so Control and backspace, doesn't work. And home, it's telling me what I'm triggering, but it's not doing what it's supposed to do. So the keyboard shortcuts are kind of sort of there, but they don't really work. So what do you really want to use this keyboard for? Why is the keyboard functionality there? Well, because you have this WPS Office thing, and then you can actually type. So you can use it to open up a new document if you want, and then I can start typing my document as I would on any other tablet. The performance is okay, but most importantly, the precision is excellent. So I can just type without looking at the screen because the performance is really, really kind of bleh. But yeah, as long as I know what I'm typing, and if I'm looking at the keyboard while typing, I kind of see that I don't really have to do many corrections. So yeah, that's basically how the keyboard is implemented and how it works with the Lenovo Smart Paper from this October update. And there are several improvements that have been listed in this update. So yeah, there's like a better notebook opening experience. I don't really know what that means, but yeah, maybe it's faster, something like that. Maybe that's what they mean. There's various bug fixes and performance improvements, and there is also the improvements in performance of the handwriting recognition. So I did a little test page here just to kind of see how it handles yeah, different cases, yeah, all caps, uppercase, lowercase, dashes, bullets, numbering, etc. Just to kind of see general situations, how does it handle. So if you go here and then I go to convert to text, this is how long it takes for it to convert, and it doesn't remember the conversion ever. So even if it does the conversion now and I do exit from here and do it again, it will still take the same amount of time. So it's not really the fastest one, but it does work, and it works really, really well. So it is able to kind of recognize dashes, even the performance here, I believe, yeah, the performance was separated as with a little hyphen here, and it was able to understand that it's supposed to be one word, which is really, really good. And here's that performance thing that I was talking about. It needs to do it every single time. It doesn't remember the result, which would have been a good thing, but at least the results are consistent. So yeah, dashes, great. Capitalization, great. Dots for bullet points, great. Numbering with dots works really well, and caps are good, and even a single dot that I placed in the middle, it just was recognized and it works fine. And then on, you can actually share this, and you can share it via different methods. You can export it to your Google Drive, you can export it directly to the WPS Office if that's what you want. You can share it via email, and most importantly, you can now share it via Bluetooth, which is what I used, and the file is exported as notebook.txt file. Now, what would have been a very nice thing is that if I could be able to rename this, but you can't. And I'm going to show in the edit here on the screen just how the exported text file looks like. Right, so it is getting some new functionalities and it's starting to get somewhere. And while those are actually good things, it's pretty much the same problems that we've had before, which is the hardware is excellent, and as we know, Lenovo is an absolutely awesome hardware manufacturer, but their lack of experience in software development, and in this case software testing as well, is showing in the Lenovo Smart Paper, unfortunately, because how is it even possible that you're gonna add the pinch to zoom functionality and not test if your annotations will follow along with the zoom or not? So that is just a really, really glaring omission, and just one of the omissions. That being said, it is starting to get better. So there are a couple of things that I do like, which is number one, it received an update, because we didn't know whether or not this device is going to be abandoned completely or not. The second thing is that they seem to be actually caring about the limited amount of customers who are having this device, that they are what they are saying. So we got now some of the most needed things are actually starting to appear in the device, and it's expanding its functionality. However, all of those things are definitely improving the device, but the underlying issue of the Lenovo Smart Paper platform is, or are, its subscription services and the paywall behind every type of functionality that is pretty much coming for free with most, if not all, of the competitors currently on the market. So that is definitely going to be still a problem for a lot of people, but it remains to be seen. But as a platform, Lenovo Smart Paper definitely is getting some updates, so it's not dead, it's alive and it's getting better. So that's a good thing to see. I hope that you liked the video. If you did, please like and subscribe and ding the notification button in the description below to get notified when new videos come out on mydeepguide. And also check out the mydeepguide.com/shop, so where you can find the MDO and MMP. Both are hyperlink documents. One helps you organize your whole year-round activities. The other one helps you centralize, simplify, and organize your meeting planning needs. And you can find the links to their respective playlists in the description down below, so that you can get more information about that and see if these products are something that you're interested in or not. Also, let me know in the comments down below what it is that you might think about the progress of the Lenovo Smart Paper. Do any of these additions to the updates actually entice you to consider the device if you haven't considered it before? And do you maybe own a Lenovo Smart Paper? Are you one of the rare unicorns that's actually, out in the wild with the device like this? Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, and see you in the next video. Bye.